Welcome to Daily Chronicles, your journey through time. Every day carries a story, from world-changing events to moments pop culture will never forget. We uncover the triumphs, tragedies, and turning points that shaped our world. This is Daily Chronicles, where every day tells its tale. In the winter of 1349, a city terrified of death did something far worse than the plague itself. Before sunrise, on a single February morning, 500 Jews in Nuremberg were dragged from their homes, accused of a crime they never committed, and massacred in the streets. Why? Because fear, real, primal, suffocating fear, had consumed Europe. The Black Death had arrived the year before. It moved like a phantom. Genoa, Marseille, Avignon, Strasbourg. By the time it reached the German states, it was killing up to 60% of the population in some towns. Entire families vanished in days, and when people don't understand a catastrophe, they look for someone to blame. Europe, in the 14th century, already held centuries of suspicion toward its Jewish communities, resentment tied to money lending, religious difference, and superstition. The plague ignited these old hatreds like dry tinder. Rumors spread faster than the disease. Whispers in taverns, accusations at market stalls. Jews poisoned the wells. A lie so absurd it should have died immediately, yet so convenient that it spread across cities like wildfire. By early 1349, cities from Basel to Strasbourg were staging violent pogroms. But Nuremberg was different. Nuremberg was a free imperial city, wealthy, tightly governed, proud of its order. And still, fear broke it. The city council, pressured by merchants and guilds terrified of economic collapse, began interrogations. Torture chambers filled with screams as officials tried to extract confessions that simply didn't exist. No evidence was ever found, because none ever could be. And yet, on February 15th, 1349, the verdict was sealed before the sun rose. The city gates locked, torches lit the cold air, and 500 men, women, and children were forced into a wooden structure outside the walls, one described by later chroniclers as a house of fire. Some were executed with blades, others were burned alive. When the flames died, Nuremberg declared itself purified. But the irony was brutal. The plague didn't stop. It didn't slow down. It tore through the city anyway, indifferent to the violence committed in its name. What happened that day wasn't about disease. It was about what people become when they're afraid, how quickly logic collapses, how effortlessly neighbors turn into executioners. And Nuremberg wasn't alone. Across Europe, an estimated 10,000 Jews were murdered during plague riots, victims of a terror far older than the Black Death itself. Here's the chilling truth. Pandemics don't just test our bodies, they test our humanity. And in 1349, in one of Europe's proudest cities, humanity failed, proving that sometimes the deadliest contagion isn't a bacterium. It's fear dressed as certainty. They say Hollywood was dead by the early 2000s. Too many sequels, too little style. And then, on December 7th, 2001, a single film swaggered into theaters and changed everything. With nothing more than charm, confidence, and the most dangerous idea in cinema. What if a heist could feel cool again? This is the story of Ocean's 11, and how an $85 million gamble became one of the most iconic reinventions in modern film. But to understand why its premiere mattered, we need to go back to the moment Hollywood panicked. It's 2000. Studios are drowning in box office flops. The average audience is fracturing. Teen slashers on one side, overly serious dramas on the other. The classic movie star formula? Dying. And then director Steven Soderbergh, fresh off his Oscar wins for Erin Brockovich and Traffic, makes a move that feels insane. He proposes remaking a 1960 Rat Pack film that wasn't even very good. A sloppy Vegas caper headlined by Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Sammy Davis Jr. A movie known less for its plot and more for the fact they filmed it between nightclub shows. Why revive something that barely worked the first time? Because Soderbergh saw an opportunity. He wasn't resurrecting the Rat Pack. He was rebuilding the idea of the modern heist film. With a cast that felt like a fantasy baseball roster of A-list talent: George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, Julia Roberts, Don Cheadle, Casey Affleck, Andy Garcia. 11 stars, each one expensive, unpredictable, and powerful enough to sink the entire project. The studio worried the budget would explode. Egos would clash. The story, about a crew stealing $150 million from the Bellagio vault in one night, was too slick, too playful for the post-9/11 world. But what happened on premiere night at the Grauman's Chinese Theater proved everyone wrong. The film wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural reset. Audiences didn't want gritty realism or melodrama. They wanted to feel something again: style, wit, escape. And that's exactly what Ocean's 11 delivered. The chemistry between Clooney and Pitt, the poker-faced humor, the Sinatra-era swagger filtered through 2001 cool. It revived the idea that movies could still be fun without being hollow. Within weeks, the film earned over $450 million worldwide, sparking 2 sequels, a spin-off, and an entire wave of heist films that tried and failed to replicate its effortless confidence. But here's the twist. Ocean's 11 didn't succeed because of its stars, its budget, or even its clever script. It succeeded because it reminded us of something Hollywood had forgotten. Charm can be a superpower. Elegance can be a weapon. And sometimes the boldest heist isn't the one on screen. It's the one where a director steals back an entire genre and gives it to a new generation. On December 5th, 1974, millions of viewers tuned into BBC Two, without realizing they were about to witness the funeral of a revolution. A comedy revolution. One that began with a giant foot crushing the rules of television, and ended with a quiet, almost absurd goodbye. Monty Python's Flying Circus didn't just break the mold. It burned it, danced on the ashes, and mailed the remains to a confused civil servant in North London. But how did a bizarre little sketch show, born in 1969 on a shoestring budget, become one of the most influential pieces of modern entertainment, before collapsing under its own creative chaos? To understand that final episode, we have to go back to the beginning. To a time when 6 Cambridge and Oxford graduates, Graham Chapman, John Cleese, Eric Idle, Terry Jones, Michael Palin, and American animator Terry Gilliam were told by the BBC, "Do whatever you want." That sentence should terrify any network executive, because the Pythons took it literally. They created sketches with no punchlines, characters that wandered into other sketches through doors that didn't exist, an opening theme featuring a nude organist for absolutely no reason, and British audiences loved it. By 1972, global syndication deals brought in hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the group became accidental superstars. But fame doesn't just lift people, it stretches them apart. By season 3, Cleese was exhausted. The touring, the pressure, the endless rewriting. He once described it as trying to catch lightning in a bottle while the bottle is on fire. He quit before season 4, leaving the remaining members to carry on without their tallest, shoutiest member. The result? A season that felt stranger, more fragmented, and darker. The magic was still there, but the balance wasn't. So on that December evening in 1974, when episode 6 of season 4 aired, titled Party Political Broadcast, many fans didn't even know it would be the end. The BBC didn't promote it. The Pythons barely acknowledged it. The closing shot wasn't a grand farewell, just Terry Jones in drag, screaming at the camera. A fitting exit for a show built on beautiful nonsense. But here's the twist. Ending the series wasn't failure. It was strategy. The group knew the format had peaked. Rather than dilute their legacy, they shifted to films. Monty Python and the Holy Grail in 1975. Life of Brian in 1979. The Meaning of Life in 1983. Each one bigger and bolder than anything TV could allow. Ironically, the show's death was the beginning of Python's immortality. Because by refusing to explain their jokes, by refusing to stay in neat narrative boxes, they shaped the future of comedy. From Saturday Night Live to The Simpsons, to every YouTuber who jumps cuts mid-sentence for comedic effect. The final episode wasn't the end of Monty Python. It was the final punchline in a joke they'd been telling for 5 years, that the weirdest ideas sometimes change the world the most.